Hey there, everybody. Well, I told myself that I wouldn't do this, but here I am doing it. I wanted to comment about the whole YouTube beta channel thing and what it means for me personally as someone who is quite an active YouTube user, both as someone who has a channel and uploads videos regularly and as someone who basically spends a lot of time on YouTube watching videos as well. First, I want to say that I have to say that most of the time that I spend online, it's revolved around YouTube. I'm either watching videos, or I'm commenting on videos, or I'm making videos. A lot of the people that I currently talk to online are people that either I met through the channel, or they're people that I've sought out, or they're friends of mine that we mainly talk about YouTube stuff. Not necessarily my YouTube or their YouTube, but we show each other videos, Because this is, YouTube is like a third of the internet now. It's huge. It's been an amazing phenomenon, and really, I think it's a technological advancement on the level of like radio or television, because it's become something like that. Now, as for the beta channels, this was something that I saw a while ago that, it said try our new beta channels, and I'm somebody who I am very accepting of change. I'm always trying out betas and new things, but I don't always like them. I think that you have to give everything a fair chance and a fair shake, but then you have to judge it. You have to decide whether it's good or bad. For example, when Google put out their new browser, Google Chrome, I gave it a try. And I found that while it was certainly a good browser, I definitely preferred Firefox. I found Firefox to be faster. Now, while Google Chrome is in its early stages, so you never know. One day I might be switching over to Chrome. And now Google's working on an operating system, and that's probably going to be pretty big. And I've always said that if Google made an operating system, I would certainly check it out. But I checked out the beta YouTube channel, and I didn't care for it. And there were a lot of good features on this. It's very customizable, and it's very easy to edit your channel. One thing that I've always had a problem with is going through all the menus to make a simple change, and the YouTube beta channel certainly fixes this. The main problem that I have with the beta channels, and the main problem that pretty much everybody has with the beta channels, well, there's two things. There's two main problems. One is that it's no longer going to be a choice. Now, a lot of people are talking about July 15th, and I don't know if you guys have heard, but that date has actually been postponed. And they haven't told us what the date is going to be for the mandatory change now, but that they will announce it some 2 weeks before they do it. And I guess they're still working out some bugs. And I got to give credit to Google and YouTube for the fact that they're not ready to roll on it, until it's what they think is perfect. And I got to give credit to the YouTube community for trying to help them with this, because they need it. They need it bad. The other problem, and this for me is the big one, is that it just doesn't look very good. I'm pretty much, if you look at my channel, I haven't really done anything with it or customized it or anything, because I think that the default YouTube, I'm looking at it, the default YouTube format is actually really good. What I've done is I've customized my homepage a lot, what I see when I go to youtube.com, so that I can have my subscriptions where I want them, my friend activity where I want them, and all that sort of stuff. But my page, I move things around a little bit, but I've pretty much kept it really simple. I don't have a fancy background, gimmick, or different colors or anything, because I think it's a really good design. Now, one thing that the new beta channels are doing is that they're making the load times a lot faster. And they're making it so that a whole new page doesn't have to come up every time you look at a video. Now, while that's a very good idea, I think there has to be a way to implement those changes, but keep the aesthetic. Now, when this eventually does pop over and I wind up with a beta channel because they're automatically going to force it over, I'm going to try my best to make my channel look as closely to what it is now, because it's really easy to navigate. I find that the new YouTube channels, it's really difficult. One thing that bothered me at first was that you couldn't see the comments unless you went to another page, and you couldn't make a comment. Now, they've kind of improved that, so that worry is pretty much gone, but there's a lot of other things that bug me. For example, one thing that I noticed about these videos is that you can't seem to get a link for it, because all the links on the sidebar that bring up the video are like JavaScript links to make the video appear in their applet. I don't know if it's exactly JavaScript, but it's something like that. So to get a link of a video to show someone, I have to go to another page. To get the embed code for a video, I have to go to another page. I find this to be really, really counterproductive. Now, I'm sure that they're eventually going to work on a lot of these things, but these are not a big deal, you know? These are things that are minor annoyances. The big problem is the aesthetics. It looks like an eyesore. Now, I get this guy who's trying to argue with me. He saw one of my comments on the beta page, and he's like, you have to empirically prove that it looks bad, and you can't do that because it's aesthetic. And that's exactly my point. It is aesthetic, and I don't want it to look like that. And he keeps talking about how, all the new improvements are great, and how, the old channels were hard to navigate through to edit. And this is true. He's not saying anything that's wrong, but what he's not missing the point is that that's the issue. It aesthetically looks bad. I don't have to prove that to him or anybody. All I have to do is look at the screen and say, does this please me? Is this what I want to see? I find myself not wanting to watch a person's videos if they have the beta channel, because it's just simply a clusterfuck. I watch most of my videos through my subscriptions page, and I find that to be pretty easy. But when somebody links me to a channel and they're like, check out this guy's videos, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have to go through this, because it's bullshit. Now, the big thing is the whole, they're taking the U out of YouTube, and our voices don't matter, and they don't care about us. And to an extent, a lot of that is just what I call liberal guilt. And, because they're calling YouTube fascists and everything. I want to remind you guys something. YouTube is free. They don't charge us for it, so they could pretty much do whatever they want, and we would have to deal with it or go elsewhere. But what YouTube, and therefore Google, should remember is that making their users happy is a good thing. And this is certainly making a lot of people very unhappy. And I think that, it's just an aesthetic thing. If they could make all these new features available, I wouldn't mind switching over to the beta channel if there was a way to make it look like the regular channels. One thing that I found to be very troublesome is the playlists. I hate the way that playlists are handled. It's very difficult to get them to work. Instead of just showing, play all, it shows like the first 3 videos in it, and you have to click on the title to get it to start playing from the first one and play all the way through. Instead of just having a little button that says play all. It's all very expanded, and I like the way it's condensed right now. The playlists are very important because I do a lot of playlists. So hopefully they'll improve that greatly before they roll this out. I didn't want to do a video complaining about YouTube and complaining about the new beta channels, because I think that that's something that it's like pointless to do. They're going to do it if they're going to do it, and the best we can do is offer our input to improve it rather than telling them not to do it. Now, I personally think that until they have it to a point where it's actually workable aesthetically, it should be a choice. Now, it looks like they've pushed this back. And that's a good thing. And I think that they shouldn't do it. I think that it would be great if they could have the beta channel, and I think it would be great if they could introduce even more styles of channels that you could choose from, and you could just have lots of different choices and lots of different ways to look at YouTube. I think the technology behind it is strong, but I think they very seriously have to consider the layout.